This is Matt for Into Boxing. Delighted to finally catch up with Gareth Davies. Gareth, first off, I want to say it looks like sensible heads have prevailed. For me, this fight should have been called yesterday, considering the findings we all know. Conor Benn's failed drug test. Talk to me about it. I think you said something very key in an interview that you did the other day. Both of these families have been involved in events. Nick Blackwell, Gerald McLennan, Michael Watson.
Yeah.
If that's not a big enough thing to say, let's do something right for boxing, which always slaps itself in the face, I don't know what is. Your thoughts on what looks like is a fight that's not going to happen?
Yeah, you mentioned three names there, Blackwell, Watson and McClellan. There's the symbolism. You don't need to know any more than that. I'm not saying that those guys were on any kind of banned substances when they fought, but these are families that know how to give it all in the ring, are warriors, and things happen when they fight. That's one indicator that it should have been called off straight away. Conor Benn testing positive for a banned substance should have brought an immediate halt to the contest. Not talks behind the scenes that let's carry on with it. Yes, it's a huge event. Yes, they're earning enormous amounts of money, but sense, as you say, sense prevailed. But ethically, morally, the right decisions have prevailed. They've taken it to the nth degree to court, to the High Court, to try and see exactly where they stand with the board, because it's not the board's testing process that he was found positive. It was VADA's, but they both signed up to. But if you sign up ethically and morally to do this as part of the rules of your contest, and that happens, follow the rules. Follow the rules, follow the detail, follow the inquiry. You can't fight. It's as simple as that. The fact that this was going on yesterday, I know how exhausted we all were following it yesterday. We could not believe that we've waited another 24 hours to hear that it's off.
I think what's staggering to me is the fact that we're hearing that this was known about a couple of weeks ago. And for me, I don't know how long it takes to get a B sample, but surely they'd have been like, well, let's get the B sample. So it makes me think, has that been done specifically to try and get the fight on, to save the money that's going to be wasted? What's your thoughts on all this? Because for me, the amount of clips I've seen coming out, and it's fair, the clips that have been said before, if you sign up for VADA and you sign up for UCAD, doesn't matter if you fail on one pass or another. If you failed on that one, for me, sensible head says you pulled. Why the delay?
Well, if you believe you're innocent, you go for the B sample. It's as simple as that, and you try and exonerate yourself. But obviously, they didn't feel they had to, because the fight was still moving forward. But I imagine the B sample will be looked into now. It's up to Conor Benn to exonerate himself. To prove that he's innocent, or to take the rap if he's not, or to take the suspension. And I think we'll find out from the court ruling what exactly the jurisdiction the boxing board do and don't have over Conor Benn. Potentially the fight will just be postponed for another day, which is the most sensible thing anyway, because we need a full inquiry into this. We need the due diligence and the processes to be gone through that need to be gone through. And at the end of it, we have a decision. They look for another date, the fight goes ahead. It's a fight we all want to see. As also, do we talk about the repercussions of if someone has taken an illegal substance, a PED, is that staying in the body? Has that enhanced them? Is it going to affect them in the fight anyway?
But everyone's talking about trace amounts, and it's always trace amounts, these tests. It's never, X amount of grams absolutely off somebody's head. It's always the littlest amount that can't affect anyone. But ultimately, it shouldn't matter, because that might just be the trace amount that's left leaving the system. So I'm not sure why this delay is. And when you look at all these past interviews, and for example the Pascal fight, for example, now I know he is the one with Boatse that got pulled. Eddie. Now for me, he has a massive history, etc., and I get why I won't say in the contracts. But if you're doing that for that and you're doing that for this, what's the difference?
There is no difference. That's what you have to do. Look, Eddie Hearn has totally contradicted himself around the Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade situation. He's rated VADA as a great testing agency in the past, and then said, that as the best, he's called it the best. So just stick to your guns. Look, I think what they were doing is just trying to legally push to the limit where they absolutely stood with the Boxing Board of Control. They're very bright, they've got a lot of money, they're able to employ very clever lawyers, and they just wanted to see how far the jurisdiction of the board held over them with this fight. There's every reason to suspect that this will go on in the future as well.
I want to ask you this. So I was thinking about this last night. When you come into this fight, obviously pretend nothing's been said. The clear advantage everyone's saying Chris is a much bigger man. Conor's moving up in weight. So let's flip this. Say it was Chris who tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug, who's a much bigger man anyway, and he's going to hydrate to be bigger. Do you think there'd be a question of it, or would it just be off like that?
Conor would say he'd still fight him, but his promoters would pull him out. That's my view.
That's the difference.
Well, because he's a smaller man, isn't he?
Yeah.
So you naturally we've got a bigger man against a smaller man, but it doesn't make any difference in the end when they go in there. It's not right that even though Chris Eubank is a naturally bigger man and he's cutting weight, there's a jeopardy there with him cutting weight down to a weight he hasn't been since he was a teenager, and he's a 32-year-old man. There is a physical jeopardy around it anyway, so that all this does is enhance it.
Yeah. How sorry do you feel for Chris Eubank Jr, who someone made a comment about how he looked in one of his interviews? He looks like he's genuinely has made the weight and has been trying to make weight. I know he's been doing the whole 60% stuff, and he's played his part through this promotion brilliantly. He's handled himself brilliantly in all the interviews in the press. I think he's come out of this smelling of roses actually from how he has.
And also I interviewed him late on Tuesday night, believe it or not, about 10:30 at night, and on a Zoom. And he was saying, I said, are you underestimating? He said, yeah, I am underestimating him. I'm absolutely underestimating him. He wasn't lying about it. And you just wonder...
Did he know?
I think he knew.
Yeah.
I do think he knew. And I think he was prepared to go ahead with it. But he still believed that he was too much for Conor Benn. And I think mentally he realised that Conor Benn, if he was taking these things, feared stepping into the ring against him physically.
Do you think with everything, obviously, Chris Eubank Sr.'s comments has come out, do you think they were potentially in relation to anything? Because it's sad when you look at it, and obviously everything he's been through, not only in the boxing ring, but the last year he's had outside the ring, that family, it's been horrendous.
Yeah, obviously he's dealt with the tragedy of losing his son Sebastian, and I wonder whether Senior did know about this, and that's what worried him, and that's why he's been absent, because he didn't want his son to step into the ring under these conditions, Christopher. And also he'll be rejoicing today that the fight's off.
Yeah. I think as boxing fans, it's absolutely important to know that today it's been the right decision. Well, it looks like the right decision anyway.
Yeah. There's no question. There's no question it's the right decision.
There's not even a doubt in my mind that this is the right thing. Look, Gareth Davies, thanks for giving us some of your time. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch up again soon, hopefully.
Always a pleasure.